welcome to Dan's Model Works, and we're back working on the Stair car from Arrested Development. And I've been doing a little bit of work off camera. Basically, I've got the part of the staircase that you're going to see all together. It's got a little bit of a curve to it, but I think we should be able to straighten that out when we glue it onto the sides. Now, it's kind of funny because this is one of these things where, you know, the first one or two steps are kind of fascinating. By the time you get to like the 10th, it's just drudgery. So I was madly, putting steps together, and then I was like, geez, I wonder if I've got enough. And then I realized that, yeah, this is actually exactly enough. So if we look at this piece here, this is one of the sides. And this line represents where the telescoping parts of the stairs, where they go. So when I glue these on, I have to make sure I don't go into that area. And as well, if I flop this around the right way, we have to make sure that we don't violate this gap right here, because that's where it actually fits onto the body. So this is where I have to start gluing, right down here. All right, that's one side glued on. Hopefully I haven't got things too far off. As I sight along, it looks like I've managed to create a fairly straight line, and it seems to be parallel with the bottom. Now the tricky bit's going to be getting the other side on and making sure that I don't have it, I suppose the best way to describe it is out of tram. So here is our inner, lower, non-movable portion of the stairs put together. Both sides are on, and I think basically I've got it pretty square. And if I drop it in place like that, I'm actually probably going to have it set to here. So I think the gap on the real truck was probably only slightly larger than a regular stair. Mine came out a bit more, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a filler piece onto this step. And I figure that will probably be all right. I think the real truck, what happens is it's always set to a position where this stair is the same level as the next tread. So you can see this would be the full down position here. And we're just going to have it up a little bit. Let's say to this stair, or maybe the next one. One of those two, I'm not sure which one. But we are going to have to put all of the tread lights in. They're still going to have to be glued in place. Well, I need lights to go up on the steps of the stair car. So what I'm doing is I'm borrowing the headlights from my dad's Pinto model. I'm going to make molds of them, and then I'm going to reinstall them later. The one on the left, the one I've already popped out, it was crooked anyway. They will be going back on. The desecration will be fixed. This is the mold that I'm using to make the lights that go up the side of the stair car to shine on the stairs themselves. I've been madly casting away, and I have, as I said earlier, I've made two molds basically of the Pinto headlight, and these are going to serve as the stair lights on the stair car. And you can see I've got, I don't know, 9 or 10. It's got to be an even number. I got maybe 8 or 10 of them here. And this one here actually has a little bit of the chrome that lifts it off the Pinto headlight. Doesn't matter, when I reinstall that headlight onto the model, I'll just repaint it chrome. This is the battery that's going to be going into the stair car. This is actually going to be another mold of a battery, not for this project, for some future use. And these are going to be the tail lights of our stair car. Now they still have to be cut away from the flash and sanded down. So, and of course, as you can see, we've got the box out for the MI10, And I got a few other things going on. I got some big rig wheels here that I'm currently casting at the same time, mainly because when you cast something little, you'd end up with a whole pile of extra resin. So you may as well cast something big and then, you know, use a little bit of extras to do something like the headlight, or the, well, they are headlights, but they're going to be the stair lights for the stair car. So it's time to start working on our leveling leg system here. And from most of the pictures, it's not clear exactly how this works, in that you've got this leg and it looks like it's pinned directly at the top. And there's not really any thing to show how exactly that telescopes. And then we've got this curious bit right here that comes out at an angle. It looks like it's probably pinned to this white structure right here, and then it's pinned to the outside of the leg, which would suggest that as the leg is forced down, it would also be forced out. But once again, it's not clear exactly how this telescopes. It looks like it's pinned directly at the top here. So if we look at another picture here, this is the inside of the stair car, and you can see that we've got this beam that runs across right behind the cab, and then you can see there's a diagonal coming down there. And this probably connects both of the legs on either side of the car. And that white leg where the swing structure seemed to come out, it probably resides right here. So that gives us an idea of what the structure is there. This piece here, I think, is part of the elevating mechanism for the stairs in behind. Now, if we go on to the next picture, finally, and I almost didn't even look at this particular picture. This is from that horrid photoshopped image that they used as a gag in the show, where first you saw it up against the plane and then the plane disappearing and such. And of course, when you look at it carefully, you see that it's a business jet that's been way enlarged, and there's no way it would ever need a stair car, but I digress. But in this picture, we can see that the leg is down. Maybe let's get rid of the various arrows and things. So that's back again, probably because I hit the mouse. There we go. And it keeps coming back. So you can see the leg is in the down position. That part that I said kind of came out at an angle is attached to the leg. You can see that it's changed the angle, and it's now made the leg come out at an angle. And most importantly, we can see that there's a segment of the leg that telescopes inside the reddish bit. So obviously that red bit is painted red so that when it's in the out position, hopefully nobody will trip over it. And you can see that the pin at the top actually goes into the top of that white area there. So we've got one more picture to look at, and that is this one here. And this shows us a close-up of the top of the leg, and you can see that it's pretty much some sort of a C channel running from one side of the vehicle to the other. You can see there's the top of that diagonal I was talking about, and you can also see there is the vertical leg in behind that this piece here that kicks the leg out goes into. Now, I'm not sure if there's a seam here. Like, I'm not sure if this sticks out a little bit, and basically that the upper part of the leg on this vehicle has been painted red, but you can clearly see that the pin goes through here, and then this area telescopes out. Whether or not this is a little tab that sticks up, I don't know. But basically, this piece here goes down, and it rides over another piece inside. And right here at the top, we can see there's some hydraulic lines going into it. So there must be a hydraulic cylinder in each of these legs. And we don't have to worry about that because our legs are in the up position. But this is what we have to basically replicate, is this structure here. We don't have to worry about the actual hydraulics inside, but we do have to model kind of the kick-out mechanism that makes the legs go out at an angle, as we saw in the black and white photo. Now, with things kind of mocked up here behind the cab, that transverse beam, I would say the top of it doesn't want to be any more than 1 5/8 high, maybe even a 1/16 of an inch less. So probably 1 9/16 tall is what we want to go with there. And the overall structure, that cross beam going across, shouldn't be any wider than the main part of the body here. It doesn't stick out in the up position any more than that. So I said 1 9/16 for the overall height. Here's the start of our stabilizing legs. Basically, I've got a piece of 4mm by 3.5mm evergreen styrene rectangle. I would have preferred square, but my hobby shop didn't have any. So what I've done is I've actually wrapped it with 10 thou styrene to represent the outer portion. And I'm going to be putting the foot at the bottom later. I've started building the uprights that go behind the cab that are going to be holding our stabilizers. And the real thing actually has C-channels front and back. I didn't have any, so I just used some I-beams, and I removed the flanges from either side where the leg will attach, and then I'm going to laminate another piece of styrene on top because that's a heavier piece of metal, at least according to the photos. Now I've added the diagonal braces in, and I've also put the heavier piece of styrene on the top like I said I would. And the next step will be to actually take my legs and to glue them in. Now when I glue these in, let's try putting it in the right way. When I glue these in, I'm not going to put them all the way up because there has to be a gap. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to pivot, so they actually had to be set down a little bit. I had a busy couple of days. Actually, this week started out being very productive model-wise, and then went downhill from there. Had a couple of dentist appointments that Natasha had to go to get her ready for braces. Had some appointments at the kids' school. Had to take my mom some places. Whine, complain. Yes, well. So I didn't get as much done as I intended. And when I did work on it, I wasn't documenting everything. So this is our stabilizing stair assembly, and it's probably about 90% done. All I really have to do now is represent the pins up here on both sides and the pins that would go in for the feet. And you can see we've got these angled pieces here. Now as this gets longer, it would tend to kick out like we saw in that black and white picture. So once I have basically the axles of our joints in place, I'm going to airbrush this flat white, and then I'm going to be using a flat red on the legs themselves because curiously they seem to be, it'd be nice if I'd stop dropping things, curiously they seem to be a flat red color, which is strange. You'd think they would be a gloss red or yellow or something, but they seem to be a flat red in the show. So that's what they're going to end up being painted. I ended up mixing up my own color for the stabilizing legs, and you could probably best describe it as being oxide, which is a color that boxcars and a lot of rail equipment was painted in the golden age of railways. And it's just a mix of some flat Tester's red and some Tester's rust. And I think it pretty much comes close to the color that the legs were painted. And as I've said before, it seems like an odd color to paint them. Not necessarily a high visibility color. So this will end up mounting right there. I'm not actually going to glue it in yet because I still have to model the elevating gear and some other stuff inside here. There's going to be some hydraulic hoses going into the tops of the legs, but at least I've got this portion here done. So here's the traditional part of every one of my videos where I'm say, boy, I thought I was going to get a lot more done this particular week, and as usual I did not. The project is moving along fairly well, actually. I haven't run into any major roadblocks. Everything is going together the way I planned. So it's just that whole nasty thing of life, the universe, and everything in it tends to slow me down. So thanks for watching this episode of Dan's Model Works, and just keep on modeling, and what will follow will be my weight update.